6 needed, and that could be the winning hit. It is. It's 6 for Lewis Gregory, and Somerset have won by 6 wickets. Tremendous win for Somerset, chasing down 194 to win, with Will Smead leading the way.
Hello there, this is Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, the Somerset Cricket Podcast. My name's Ian Shepherd. Joining me this evening, I've got President of the club, Peter Wanless. Peter, how are you doing?
Warm and, very positive about this extraordinary fight back to retain our trophy.
Yeah, I should just quickly let you know that Gibbo is trying to connect from Langport. I don't know whether the internet connection needs 50p putting in it from deepest, darkest Langport, but he will be with us very shortly. But Peter, I mean, the last time we recorded was in the aftermath of what Jason Kerr called, I think, the worst T20 performance he'd ever seen from the Somerset side up at New Road. We were drinking in the Last Chance Saloon. Every game was virtually a knockout game to get through to the quarterfinals. We won every game. Beat the group leaders twice, Northants, won the crossover game at Derbyshire, beat Worcester on Sunday to cap off a remarkable turnaround of fortunes. I mean, it was, well, they got their mojo back. Should we put it that way?
Yeah, I wasn't on last time, but I had a conversation with Jason after the annual general meeting, so that was sort of midway through the competition, and I must admit I sort of talked to him giving the impression that, you know, this was a year of transition and we'll have to put it down to experience, and we'd had bad injuries and this sort of stuff, and you know, he was having none of it. He was absolutely determined and convinced that this team had it within them to qualify. Now, you might say that's what the coach is there to say, but at the same time, you might think that to people like me, a bit of expectation management, you know, it was an opportunity to say, well, you know, yeah, it's been tough this year or whatever. But I think, you know, he could see that some of the players were coming back. He believed in the talent of the squad. We certainly hadn't seen the best of some of the players. Daniel Sands is the most obvious one, I suppose, and Riley Meredith hadn't been with us for the first half of the competition. So there've been some significant changes and injury returns. Nevertheless, you know, fair play to Jason and the confidence in the team. I think they always believed they were good enough to get this, but my goodness, it was by the skin of their teeth.
It certainly was, yeah. I mean, one of the things, yeah, and I certainly thought over the winter with the departures that we had, you know, obviously Dixon and Green, two absolutely massive players in 23 and 25, the seasons that we won it in the last few years. Davey and Aldridge as well, obviously, you know, will come into the side occasionally. Aldridge probably more remembered for his contributions in the field, you know, in the final and various sort of run-outs and extraordinary catches he's taken. Has won us a couple of games, probably more with the bat, I think, against Gloucester a couple of years ago. He put on a few in a match-winning partnership. But compounding that with the injuries that we've had as well, if we're feeling from the outside that this is a transitional year, this is a year of rebuilding, you know, as long as we kind of hold our own and don't get embarrassed too often, it'll be fine. But as you said, if Jason Kerr's having none of that, I think that speaks volumes about the standard he sets as a coach. And you aren't going to get the best out of your players unless you explicitly set a high standard for them. You know, if you think a player's a 9 out of 10 player and you let him get away with being a 7 out of 10 player, for example. No, let me rephrase that. If you've got a player who you think has got the potential to be a 9 out of 10 player, and he's currently a 6 out of 10 player, and you set an expectation to be a 7 out of 10 player, he's never going to hit the levels of 9 or even go on to be a 10.
Yeah. And do you remember at the start of this campaign when we won those first 2 games? And I remember if not saying on here, certainly thinking, the great thing about this team is that everyone knows their role. And if someone doesn't quite perform their role, someone else will fill in. But there was sort of roles for players, each fighting for one another. You could pretty much guarantee that one of Banton, Smead, and TKC was going to get you 70 or 80. Everyone else would bat around them. I mean, the death bowling's always been a bit of an issue. But if Craig doesn't get you, Meredith would, although we didn't have him, first half. So yeah, there's a sort of real sort of sense of purpose and collective belief in one another as well. So you've got someone setting really strong standards from the top, and a group of players that really believe in one another and fight for one another. And it all came good in the end. But we did get a couple of thrashings, didn't we, in the middle?
We did, yeah. Some very poor performances. Mainly Glamorgan. Warwickshire at home, Glamorgan at home are the two that really sort of stick in my craw as games that we potentially should have won.
Could have won them, couldn't we? Both of them.
To win. Did not bowl very well in either of those opposition run chases. But we've now got it together, as they say. Vastly improved with the ball against Northants on Friday night. Even better capping off the group stages against Worcester on when was that? Yesterday. Sunday, yeah. This is getting very confusing. All the days now.
It felt like a Friday night, that game, didn't it?
Sunday
in the evening.
It felt like a Friday night. So it was supposed to be a family fun day Sunday afternoon. Then Sky arrived and altered all the timings around for broadcast. Yeah. So let's just just remind myself of the card on that one. I've got too many tabs open at the moment. So yeah. And that was a funny sort of game. We went off like a rat out of a drain pipe in the power play. Smead and Thomas, who's been an absolute revelation.
Yeah, brilliant.
75-1. Then we really slowed down after that. The Usma Mir coming on and getting TKC in his first over. That sort of maybe sent a little bit of a flare up. And then we just seemed about a little bit more cautiously. Got ourselves up to 194 in the end, and
so it was a worn wicket, wasn't it? It had a lot of games played on it, and I think the kind of we put in the extra spinner, and oddly Worcester put in the extra seamer, and I did feel that 194 was a pretty good score. But we were kind of playing Worcester at their own game, because we certainly didn't do ourselves anything like justice on their kind of slightly rough and ready surface up at Worcester. So it was a bit of a gamble.
Two spinners.
Yeah, we should have played two spinners, and we should have batted more like we batted yesterday. But it did slow up a lot. But then they never really got going, and what to say about? I mean, after one over, Goldsworthy had bowled really well. Jack Leach's first over wasn't great, and I was sort of thinking to myself, "Oh, Goldsworthy is going to be schooling Jack in how to be a T20 player," and then Jack really came to the fore.
Yeah, he did. I mean, Gibbo's trying to come in again. Can you hear us, Gibbo? If Gibbo comes in, he comes in. Jack. Yeah, his first game in the Blast this season. He's the one thing I've always said about Jack. I felt that he's a bit one note, but he didn't look that to me on Friday. He looked like he had a good couple of variations.
Yeah.
I know it's when I was keeping to him in the benefit game for Lewis.
When I was keeping to Jack Leach.
Well, when I was keeping to Jack Leach, he did have one that just kind of went in, and it wasn't just a sort of a normal arm ball. He kind of got it to skid through a little bit as well. So it was almost and it just went a little bit flatter as well, sort of a bit round arm, a bit skiddier, and sort of instead of going away, it just sort of goes into the right hand. I think he got his second wicket with a delivery that kind of did that. So yeah, he's looking. He looked very good, and I think he has potentially improved his T20 game because potentially, if he isn't going to be playing for England, then he wants to be playing every single game he can for Somerset, which includes the Vitality Blast. So,
I listened to one of the streams. I think it was probably Northants away, and the commentators were being quite generous about our team and our talent and how we ticked all the boxes, except that we didn't have a world class spinner. And you think that's ironic, isn't it? Because we've got this chap who's he's not a kind of mystery spinner, but he's a world class spinner, and where
yeah,
there's maybe there is a way, and we saw it yesterday.
yeah, definitely.
Perhaps,
Man, of the match
and if
in
we
his-
can
in
get
his
to
game.
if we can get to finals day, then pace off at Edgbaston
Yeah,
has worked for others.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't the case with the pitch last year, but you'd certainly think now with the weather the way it's been,
Yeah,
it hasn't rained for about 6 months, that it's going to be the spinners are going to have a major role to play on Saturday. So that would definitely bring, Goldsworthy to the fore, who I thought was exceptional yesterday. Josh Thomas as well, who's had a great start to his T20 career, and of course Jack. It's just a shame that we don't have a right armour. We do, but one of those three isn't a right armour. Potentially, if we're being massively picky, you could have maybe snuck Archie Vaughan in for a game or two, but their backs were against the wall, and there wasn't a lot of wiggle room in what they had to experiment with. We've got Gibbo on, but it looks like he's on a very, very slow sort of dial-up connection from about 1982. He sort of sat with his fingers to his chin in a very kind of pensive manner. But
can you hear anything? Can you hear me?
if he was here from 1979, that would be a good sign. That would be a good signal, wouldn't it?
what, as in 1979 double champions?
Double
There
champions,
we go.
yeah.
Double champions. That would be very nice if we could manage that. Well, to use a poker analogy, we've got a chip in a chair, and that's all you need sometimes. I just want to have a bit more of a chat about Worcester. What else did I want to bring up? Yes, mentioned Lewis Goldsworthy. I thought he was exceptional. 4 overs at Taunton for a spin bowler, only going for one boundary. That was off the very last ball. I thought he was exceptional. Daniel Sams was fantastic as well. That catch he took down in front of Colin Atkinson. You must have had a good view of that.
Yeah,
that was
amazing.
Yeah. Never looked like he was getting there until he got there. And I think Riley Meredith's expression, who was sort of the closest fielder to him, was that summed that up for Riley. For that fantastic catch from Sams. Will Smeed seems absolutely determined to carry on his record of never ever scoring a T20 100 for Somerset. 89 off 51 is his latest flirtation with three figures before we get out. But all joking aside, he has been one of the main reasons why we are now in this position with our hat still in the ring. Are still got a ticket for the lottery to retain our Vitality Blast trophy. I noticed a couple of things about him last night. There was first couple of overs, first over, I think Tom Taylor's bowling from the river end. Smeeds hit a boundary, and he's just sort of leant on it and put it through the gap at cover that he saw. And then maybe he did one or two, maybe to Swanepoel, similar shots.
Yeah.
A second over. 2 years ago, I'm convinced that Will Smeed. Gibbo, can you hear us? Gibbo's all of a sudden gone crystal clear. Can you hear us, Gibbo? You're looking good. Take that as a no. Yeah, I'm convinced a couple of years ago, Will Smeed in that first couple of overs, those balls, he would have literally swung himself out of his boots, trying to hit them into the river. And I think he's given himself time, but not only is he giving himself time, he's playing proper cricket shots. He's playing the right shots to these balls to get them away for 4 or 6 without slogging. And he's also shown a couple of periods, at Worcester, up at Derby, I think a bit at Northants as well. He's just he's happy to shift down a couple of gears. When he was back with Cola Cadmore, I think at Derby, they did that. Him and Tiru got off to a great start, and then they recognised that okay, TKC needs a little bit of time now. He's had a couple of games where he's come in back from injury, not really in a bit of net, and he's tried to go from ball one. It hasn't quite worked. There's some value here in Pepsi giving himself an over or two, and I'm just going to sort of stick here with him. And then they were able to pick it up again. So just mature.
I didn't see much of the Derbyshire game, but I did hear someone talking contrasting Will Smead's innings with Anarin Donald's, and that both of them went off at 1,000 miles an hour. But Donald has only got the one gear, and in the end, it perished in the way, to the rather cynical and disillusioned Derbyshire fans. He always does. Whereas Smead seemed to just take a little bit more time, and as a consequence, held the innings together for us in a way that Donald just doesn't bat through. He's a kind of all or nothing. I say I don't know. I didn't see it, but if you look at the scorecard, you could draw that conclusion, I suppose. But I also heard someone saying that at Derbyshire they seem to be fed up with absolutely everything.
I had to laugh at the Derbyshire commentators when Donald did eventually hold out. It's what they chasing 215, and they were more or less at the run rate, and it was taking Anarin Donald. I mean, Martin Anderson 1 off 3, Harry Kane 28 off 21, Madsen 43 off 31, Montgomery 8 off 8. So nobody was really getting to grips and going at the rate that they needed to. Apart from Donald, and when he did hold out, another great catch by Daniel Sams on the boundary, by the way. Derbyshire commentators go, "Why has he done that? That was silly." And you're like, "Well,
he's the only one that's actually going to get them there.
The only one who's scored. He's having to do that. We're bowling so well. He's had to take a lot of chances to get the runs, and as the old Shane Warne quote, "Tee off, but not recklessly." And I had to laugh. I mean, oh dear, again, but difficult place to go. We haven't been there. I think was that our first ever game there, or one of a very very low number of games at Derby if we have ever been there before. Sam's again. I think this resurgence in form it's no coincidence that Sam's has hit form as well. I will hold my hands up. I won't. Actually, no, I won't. I will stick by what I said. I said, your overseas needs to contribute, and he hasn't been contributing, and now he is putting in match-winning performances, or certainly performances that are, massively, massively helping us win matches. He's not winning matches on his own, but he's really, really performing now, and that bodes well coming up towards finals day.
Yeah, I think I said last time I was on, we just lost to Warwickshire, and Sam's had done not very much, and Bo Webster had done kind of everything, and you wonder about the signing. But yeah, he's you've talked about his fielding. He smacked it all over the place, didn't he? Was that at Northampton? And and then his bowling, is a number of levels above Jake Ball's and Josh Shaw's in the later overs, thankfully.
Yeah. I mean, let's have a look at what his numbers now. He's played every match, 12 matches, 40 overs, 17 wickets, averaging 19.64, going at 8.35, which is pretty decent at Taunton, when he played half the games at Taunton. And taking a wicket every 14 balls. Leading wicket taker as well was 17. So, really picked up his game towards the back end of the tournament with bat and ball. What were his batting numbers? Just averaging 21 with the bat, but he is coming in that sort of towards the end. Kind of up the ante where it can go wrong. So 48 is not out as high score as we talked about up at Wantage Road a week or so ago. So that was Derbyshire. Then before that,
it was Northants.
That was Northants. So that was the one where we started to believe.
Yeah.
Because before that they were undefeated. Dan, in a very, very prescient moment, said, "Well, they're due a loss," and he was absolutely right. They were due a loss, and we didn't just we didn't just beat them, we absolutely hammered them. But just going back to that 48 from Sam's, that just tipped over. Well, it made Northants bat in a different way from ball one.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you've got all the time in the world, you're chasing a target in a test match, 180 to 220 doesn't change how you bat. 180 to 220 in a 20 over game, massively different. And we saw that at the start with, not necessarily with Riley Meredith, who decided the way to go was bang everything in halfway down, and Ricardo Vasconcelos and McSweeney were just very happy to dispatch him to all parts of Northampton. But aside from that, I thought Craig Overton was absolutely brilliant up at Wantage Road.
Yeah.
I mean, that is going to be potentially one of my little sleeper outsiders for the Golden Apple for T20 Performance of the Year. 4 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 20 doesn't jump out of the scorecard at you, but just watching it, the game situation, the tournament situation as well.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind also that Riley's gone around the park, I think that was absolutely vital for us getting back on track. That little spell from Craigo.
Still not missed a game. Back to catching and everything that moves, hasn't he? Well, I think he took 3 catches last night, and you've just if ball's anywhere near him, you know it's going to be swallowed up. So really good.
Yeah, and I thought Josh Thomas was going to get Arrol's record. Well, it's not Arrol's record anymore. Whoever's record it is, it was Ackerman's, and then somebody else has gone past Ackerman as well. But I think it was actually on the same day. It was to the day when Arroll set that record. I thought Josh Thomas finished with 4 for 6, Goldsworthy as well, 3 wickets in his first over as well, 7 wickets to the spinners. Great debut for Josh Thomas as well. Northants 118 all out, not within country mile of chasing down Somerset's to 223 for 4. That was when I started to believe. I think that's when the players started to believe as well. And since then, you could say it's been relatively plain sailing.
You could, and you look at our team, and it looks really strong, and you wouldn't want to be playing us in the next game. Mind you, Yorkshire have done very well and look strong. But yeah, on our day we can beat anyone, and they must be. You know, momentum's a great thing in this sport, isn't it? And we've got it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked about a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about Craig and his sort of energy levels. The energy around that side must be phenomenal at the moment. The way that they're playing, the results that they've had, the way that they've come back from the dead, so to speak. And I think, you know, whether it's a trip to Yorkshire, whether it had been a trip to Reykjavik, whether they've had to go to Beijing to play this quarterfinal, wherever it is, they would have been absolutely buzzing, and the distance would have been no object. I think, you know, I think that coach on the way up will be absolutely, you know, full of energy. That there will be just a great atmosphere. And I think, just absolutely full of confidence and going into that game at Headingley. As I think we're favourites, the bookmakers got us 5-4 on, which is a brave shout away from home in a T20. But I'm convinced that I think we'll win. I don't want to say our name is on the trophy, but when you look at the way things have gone, it would be Mother Cricket would be very cruel not to wrap this fairy tale up in the way that we all hope it. We hope it should be wrapped up.
Well, no one's ever attained the trophy, have they?
They haven't, no, and it didn't look like anybody was going to. But you know, as I say, it's peaking at the right time. Look at when the Gloucesters won it; they were massively down and out in the South Group as it was then, 2024, and they just went on a run. And sometimes when you go on a run, you know, as you say, the momentum is with you, and you know you can just sort of sweep all aside.
Well, let's hope so. I did. Have we fit? You know, before we go on to Yorkshire, I mean, whoever, you may have talked about this previously. Whoever had the decision to put Thomas Rue up the top of the order, I mean, that is just working a dream, isn't it?
Yeah, he is. I thought he looked a little bit twitchy his first few balls. yesterday. He wasn't quite
Yes,
getting away.
agree.
Uh,
Yeah.
and it's just, but to his credit, I mean, him and his brother, they both got old heads on young shoulders. I'm sure Will Smith, I can't remember if Will Smith went down and had a word with him or not. Maybe just a little bit of a look and a bit of a nod and just make eye contact, and and words don't need to be said when in that sort of situation. But they just sort of just got back in, got his shape back, and how did he get off the mark?
Well, he had a couple
Yeah,
of fours that
he was
weren't
eight
very
off, he
well
was eight off
hit.
seven. Then the fourth over, he just smashed one
Yeah,
ball everywhere, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
he was away then. But yeah, I mean, what
I
more?
think presumably, psychologically, he's got that just a little, tiny little bit of time to think.
Hmm.
I can't not exactly play myself in, but there was a couple of times when he's coming in at 5 or 6 and there's not much time to go. He's
Yeah.
just had a whack at something and got out, and it's a waste of time. So that that really seems to be working. And obviously, James, when he hit that century and no one else got very much at all. I mean, that was a
Hmm.
phenomenal innings. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that shot he played off David Willey into the groundsman's shed, that sort
yeah,
of that slog sweep. It wasn't a slog sweep because it was a sort of a slog sweep ramp because he got it well behind square. It was almost 45, and I was just sort of sat there thinking, how have you got the power? Because that went really high as well. Normally when you do that, it's a kind of a skimmer, but he got down and he was just able to get the power. I think he probably made contact with the ball maybe sort of 18 inches off the ground. So he's got his back down to ground level and then whooshed it back up
amazing.
again. The timing was just absolutely incredible. And just incredible. Oh, one more thing we need to quickly talk about. Was it Northants? Yes. Friday night, not named in the squad, but runs out to toss up Lewis
Lewis
Gregory. He's
Gregory.
back.
Yeah.
He is back. He had a TFC on Friday night, but showed his value just as a batter on
Sunday, he got 28.
on Sunday. Yeah,
Yeah.
28. He's got the momentum going back in the innings. I think he's desperate to get fit for these two days of cricket. 2 days, 3 game. 2 days, 3 games. Quarterfinal, finals day. He was putting in some hard yards after play on Sunday with a physio, doing some sprints, testing out the hamstring. He'll be desperate because if he plays as a bowler, that means we can probably bring back Tom Abel as a batter. At the moment, I think we are. If we bring Abel in and Gregory can only bat, we're very much a bowler light. So, definitely want to see Lewis pass fit to bowl. I'm sure he will be. I'm sure it'll be all sorts of strapping and every pharmaceutical he can get his hands on to play through the pain barrier, because he will be desperate to not only become the first captain to retain the blast, but the first captain to lift 3 trophies for Somerset.
Yeah, and do it in his benefit year.
And do it in his benefit year as well, exactly. So, I mean, professional pride, all of that will be at the forefront of his mind going into these next few days. But I just hope that maybe he's just pragmatic enough to say if it's not there, it's not there. But he'll be desperate.
Have you seen Tom Abel?
Yes, so he's in the squad. I think he's good. He's in the squad for Sunday. Spoke to him after play yesterday. I think he's all good. No strapping or anything on the finger. It's just the lack of cricket that would potentially worry me. Although maybe not as much as a Kohler Cadmore or a Smead, who are more impact players than Abes. I think Abes could. Whereas TKC's game is very much built on the power hit down the ground. Same with Smead. You think Abel is much more of a manipulator. I think Abel, being a bit rusty, would still be able to find the gaps through the manipulative type shots with the sweeps and the reverse sweeps, and then sort of find a bit of form and momentum that way. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't keep
In that Worcester innings on yesterday, if Abel had been coming in, Goldsworthy, it didn't really suit him. I think playing
struggled
that
a little bit,
role,
didn't
did
they? Yeah.
he? I mean, it's a bit. He got 9 off 10 balls, but it looked like relative to everyone else, he was sort of scratching around a little bit, and you kind of feel that Abel would find the twos and
Yeah.
and in form Abel anyway.
Mhm.
So yeah, that would strengthen the batting if he were available, and then Goldsworthy can drop down to where he's been batting
Yeah.
more regularly this season.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Judging by what we've heard about pitches at Headingley as well, it's probably not going to be a two-spinner track. They've been pretty much roads up there all season, haven't they? So
Yeah, I was
you'd
looking
think,
at the scores, and York. It looks like Yorkshire like to bat first. They score
Mhm.
215, 220, and then that puts scoreboard pressure on
Mhm.
the opposition. But Gloucester did a job on them. Gloucester scored over 200 and beat them. So there we are. It can be
Yeah.
done. So they may
So
choose to bat first, I guess, which
they made well. They chose to bat first at Derbyshire. I mean, the numbers said that it's the side's batting first on the last 5 out of 6, something like that at Derby. So it was the sensible thing to do.
yeah.
I just it feels open, doesn't it? You got there was 8 teams there. Any one of them you think could end up lifting that trophy on Saturday night, and it wouldn't be a shock.
I suppose so. Rather Essex didn't.
Oh yeah, I would as well. Yes.
And they've come through sort of towards the end, haven't they?
Mm.
I don't sort of think of them as a particularly strong team, but yeah, not Surrey, Yorkshire. Uh,
Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah. Anything more about Northants on Friday night? No, I mean they won quickly enough, chasing 160 odd in 15 overs exactly. I thought they maybe could have put a Sams or an Overton up to try and boost the net run rate a bit, but at the end of the day, if you're winning with 5 overs to spare, you can't really put too many complaints at the door of the players and the coaching staff.
I'm sure you're
Yeah.
very sad that Glamorgan didn't manage to make it through,
Well,
given their reaction to
they're
beating
sort
us
of my second
twice.
team. I mean, that there is a signed Glamorgan shirt from about 2005 on my wall. So there's some good names on there, some good players. They are my second team. They will always be my second team. And I genuinely thought with the likes of Dixon, Kieran Carlson's obviously a brilliant player when he's not giving the finger to the Cooper Associates County crowd. I thought Ned Leonard has improved massively as a T20 bowler. Douthwaite's a good cricketer. It just feels like a massive disadvantage being in the group whatever it's called, the Central
In our
West group.
group, which didn't at the start of the season. I thought it was a more straightforward than when you see those other teams in the south, which we used to play quite a lot.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yeah, and I mean I suppose now only 3 from a group can go through rather than 4 from a bigger group. I don't know, but it feels weird that as well. Our group seems to have sucked in a lot more points from seems to have sucked in a lot more points from the crossover games than any of the other groups.
Yeah.
I mean, well, let me find that table. It's incredible.
Dan has a big spreadsheet that covered all of this somewhere or other that I saw. I think it's something like 10 out of 12 games or something were won by our.
Yeah, so only one team in our group has got a net run rate in the negative, and that's Worcester, who ended up finishing bottom with 24 points, the same as Warwickshire, Glamorgan, who 4, 5, 6. So 36, 28, 28, 24, 24, 24.
So if we'd lost yesterday, we would have had 24 points.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? So the spread there, that is a 12-point spread between top and bottom, and the other groups it's 20 and 22. It just goes to show that it's. Does it need rejigging? Do the groups need to be moved about more year on year? Is there a better way than having these crossover games? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Dan will be listening on his train journey up to Headingley on Wednesday, whenever he's going. So I'm sure, Dan, get your laptop out, get your slide rules and your pens and your papers and your draft papers. Work out the best, fairest way doing the Vitality Blast. Actually, it's a decent enough train journey from Birmingham to Leeds, Dan. So do the whole domestic schedule and interview a few coaches as well while we're at it. It's just remarkable. This Somerset side never cease to surprise you. Always pull it out the fire. And I'm just going to go on to a question from Trev, who put something I was going to ask, but we sort of touched on it before. But the two constants during the Blast success in an evolving team have been Hurry and Kurt. Do they get enough credit? They certainly get enough shit, which they don't deserve. Do they get enough credit? Well, I did try, and it was quite nice speaking to Steve Kirby and Jason after the respective wins on Friday and Saturday. They to say, a little bit of this is at your door as well. So well done, congratulations, because as you said, it's not just the on-field side of things you need to get right, but that dressing room could have been a pretty miserable place. You're thinking, right, we've got the players to go out and defend our title, and we are failing miserably. Everything seems to be against us. Everything is conspiring against us. We are not getting the rub of the green at all. And then it takes, the backroom staff, the leadership group, senior players, but also the coaching staff to be able to lift the players out of that and keep them performing. And sort of set levels of expectations as well. I mean, you look at Josh Thomas. What were he would have been set a high expectation of what he was going to do when he was bowling up at Northampton. This is what you're going to do. Is no freebies in the first over. You are not going to have time to do this. This is a massive game. We expect you to go and do that. And I think that's very much Jason's style. He's a very. I find it sort of difficult to get a read on him because he can sort of come across as quite. I don't want to say miserable, but he's I sort of say. What's the word I'm looking for? He's very sort of professional. He's quite guarded. He doesn't really sort of let much slip. But there are occasions where he will let a smile and a little joke. But he's very methodical, very pragmatic, very, very professional, and sort of in an Alex Stewart type way, which I don't think is if you are going to model yourself on a coach, I don't think Alex Stewart is a bad one to go with.
Definitely not.
But and I think I absolutely agree with Trevor himself and Andy, the work they do behind the scenes on probably not a massive budget. We are not a TMG. We are not 100 county. We, to be fair, we will hold our hands up. We say we do rely a lot on the excellent private school network or public school. What is the difference in a private school and a public school? Is it just American? Whatever. Clean playing schools, scholarships. Excellent network around Taunton,
and it is we are a victim of our own high standards because players moving around want multi-format contracts, and it's very, very difficult to get into our T20 team.
Yeah.
So, that is we haven't got as much money as some of the others. We haven't got the bright lights and. Of the big cities, but
we have. They just keep switching off every now and again. But,
yeah. They've been good, haven't they? The floodlights.
Touch wood. Yeah. Well, we shouldn't need them again. Well, we will need them for a one-day cup game or two, and obviously if it gets a bit dimpsy in the championship. Just a nightmare scenario has popped into my head. We need one wicket to win against Surrey in the last game of the season, and there's a catastrophic failure with the floodlights, and we have to go off. Anyway, I'm tempted fate now. I'm tempted fate, but we don't. Yeah, no, I agree. I think, we. What are we talking about? Bright lights, big cities.
We were talking about Hurry and Kerr, and I mean it's an. No one else has. We talked about no one's retained the trophy, but this is an extraordinarily sustained period of success in T20 cricket. Not just for Somerset, but pretty much for anyone. I should think to get to finals day over and over and over again. and to get to the final.
Mm.
Yeah, it's some of us have got lives to lead. We
I know. This
can't
is
keep
like
going up and down to
you sort of
Edgbaston all the time.
in a big red circle in your diary, looking at this, thinking, "Oh, it'll be much better for my marriage if we just lose on Sunday." But yeah, I mean, it's annoying because real life does have to interfere with. I mean, I've got the day off work on Wednesday, so it's literally going to be driving up, watching the game, driving home, listening to the football to sort of get back to reality and doing the school run on Thursday morning.
That is real dedication because
It's real,
I don't
yeah.
think I'm gonna make it. So I'm relying on you to bring back the goods, and then
Can I be like
I'll
can I
see
be
you at
deputy?
Birmingham.
Can I be official deputy vice president for the day or whatever? What happens when
Yes, I
the
wish I could
president
give you
can't? Well, I'll be.
some sort of special hat or jacket or badge that you could wear.
Oh, do you not have any of that? Oh no, that would be nice. Yeah, should we? The president, yeah, you have sort of the mayoral chains and heavyweight
Yeah,
boxers have the gold belts that they wear. What would you a presidential? Yeah, it's like a
yeah,
hat or maybe a shirt. I think shirts are your thing, Peter, and sort of a
yeah.
nicely worn shirt. Oh, have you seen the swimming shorts that they've got in the shop now?
I have not.
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah,
What,
just
like
don't
Bermuda
have
short
yeah,
type?
they're very much in the festival shirt
Oh,
mold of.
okay.
I can't remember. I think they're white with the pink Somerset Dragon logo all over them. But I think
Blimey.
you have that. You have the festival shirt and the bucket hat as a triple header. You are going to be. You're going to be looking spectacular.
I'm
What are we
not sure I
talking
got the
about?
legs for that.
What were we talking about anyway? Yeah, and then I'm probably gonna have to do Edgbaston and back in a day as well. So fingers crossed we're on the second
Yeah,
semi-final. Otherwise, we're going to be asleep somewhere in Edgbaston between sort of 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock during the second game. Yes, Jason Kerr and Andy Hurry.
yeah.
I think absolutely agree with you, Trev. Yeah, well, maybe not just those two, but also the leadership group as well. They generally bring in the right players, the right characters. They're very good at creating the culture. We spoke earlier about the expectations, about
Mm.
how Jace was pissed off and he wasn't having none of it. That these are new players coming in the side. You are good enough, go out and perform at the level we know you can play at. Um,
Yeah,
and
and I
I
think that it's when you put what he said to me together with what he said to you after that Worcester loss, it's all
yeah,
consistent and of a piece because I think
yeah,
in his master plan and his expectations that was not a game to lose. Whereas if you lose a game at home I mean every one of our games. No, that's not true. Every one of the games we couldn't have won because we got thrashed at Glamorgan, we got thrashed at Gloucester, but. Um, uh, you will lose one or two from time to
yeah,
time, but yeah, it was definitely not in his master plan to lose that
mm,
one, and it was that which put us under great pressure. So that each one of these last four have been a cup final. And when we went into that game at Northants, we'd won 3 of 8 games.
yeah. It's
I
crazy,
mean,
isn't it?
that's poor, isn't it?
That's terrible, really, isn't it? Yeah. I
So
mean, yeah, we couldn't get any worse, and all of a sudden it just clicked. And like you say, well, when you're a good team, I think they're all very consistent with their messaging. They all seem to be sort of very similar characters. I want to speak to Curbs, I want to speak to Jay, so I spoke to sort of Shane Berger in the past. They all seem to be these very pragmatic, very level-headed guys who aren't going to get too up when you win, not going to generally get too low when you lose. But if you lose and you massively underperform,
yeah,
then you will be taken to task. And it's I think with the way that professional sport is at the moment and the way that Somerset are sort of punched massively above their weight in terms of the the revenue and what we can pay players and this sort of thing. It's if you're I don't know, if you're Erling Haaland earning £2 million a week or whatever he earns, the manager can have a go at you and you will kind of sit up and take it. Yeah, I want £2 million a week, and he's probably right. If you're
yeah,
not kind of earning that money and there's bright lights of Trent Bridge potentially
mm,
or Surrey wanting to offer you money, it's quite a balancing act to get that player in the right frame of mind to create that environment where you feel you don't resent being had a go at,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
expected out of everyone, and everybody buys into that culture, and you feel like, oh, if I act up out of this, or I go and go and speak to I'll go and speak to another place. Oh, Jason Kerr was out of order, weren't he having a go at me or whatever? They go,
Yeah.
no, that's what we do. This is Somerset. This is how we play. This is our expectations of each other. So I think the way that they've built that is massive, because that's probably what's that worth in pounds, shillings, and
Yeah.
pence? Priceless, isn't it?
I can't remember if we've talked about this before, but when Tom Abel spoke,
125 episodes, Peter, we probably have.
well, when Tom Abel spoke at a Walkers and Talkers event down at the ground a couple of months ago, he's such an honest, open individual, isn't he? And he talked about the difficulty he found as the captain, letting his friends and colleagues know that they weren't going to be in the team for the next game. And sometimes it might be tactical, but sometimes it would be form, and sometimes because of who he is, he would feel, well, have I got the form to deserve my place in the team? And that is a burden. And so how you overcome that with a really strong sense of standards and expectations and respect for one another, but ensuring that it doesn't get to that kind of cozy sense of, well, we're all friends and everyone can have a turn and all that. I mean, you're dead if you get to that position. But clearly, it's not at all straightforward for some people to make those tough selection decisions and face up and stand by them. And Jason especially is doing that, every game. I mean, as soon as he makes a choice, we're told on Facebook why it's wrong. And sometimes it probably is, but to living with that pressure consistently is not straightforward.
I mean, I've probably disagreed with stuff that they've done, and I was say livid, indignant when after Dixon, the news came out that Dixon had been let go. But you give it a day or two, you take the emotion out of it, you listen to the case that they've made, and you sort of sit there and think, that was probably a really, really tough decision to make, because it sounds like a cliche, but in professional sport they always say, if you're not moving forward, you're standing still.
Yeah. A friend of mine who's a Glamorgan supporter was cock-a-hoop and sending me lots of messages, as you can imagine, as they beat us twice, and saying how brilliant Sean Dixon was and how they love Sean Dixon. And I just said, well, look, we love Sean Dixon as well. At least so far as the Blast is concerned, he not only did he never let us down, but he was an absolute match winner. So I'm delighted for him and for you that he is winning matches for Glamorgan.
Yeah.
But awfully sorry that collectively you're not at quarterfinals and we are.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Glamorgan were an outside sniff to win it this year. I really did. But yeah, I mean, like I say, the emotion of those last three overs against Warwickshire Bears, Birmingham Bears, Warwickshire, Birmingham, whatever they're called, that will just live with me forever. I don't think I've ever felt like that, and to let that player go, well, no, the decision had already been made, but it was, very difficult. But as I said before, say it, and it is true. If you're not moving forward, you are standing still. And you had Tom Lammonby, Thomas Rue, James Rue queuing up for that spot, and you think, what is best for the the short term we keep him, but the medium and long term, it's sorry, Sean, but we can't renew your contract. But again, as you said, what Abe's was alluding to is part of being a good captain and a good coach. So I'm not saying Abe's wasn't a good captain, but is confronting those difficult scenarios and those difficult decisions, and not shying away from them, and recognizing that you would hope that the character of the guy opposite you is such that he will know that this isn't personal, this is business, if you want to put it in those words. But it's difficult for him telling you, it's going to be difficult for you accepting that, but you gain nothing by chucking your toys out the pram. Although I'd probably think with him a lot of satisfaction to just do the old signature to Andy Hurry after he won against Bears. Yeah. Wax lyrical about that. But the answer to your question, Trevor, is no, they do not get enough credit. And I hope in the last, what feels like 3.5 hours, we have given them enough credit. Harry Hayden says if Tom's A and B, which I presume is Abel and Banton, are respectively available and fit, or fit and available, whichever, who gets in or gets left out? Well, not a decision that I would like to have to make. I don't think they'll release Tom Banton because let me just schedule. Yeah, so there's an ODI in Edgbaston, then the quarterfinal, then an ODI in Cardiff. So I think it's very unlikely that anybody will be released from the England squad for that. And there's an ODI at Lords the day after finals day. So
no, I don't think it's going to happen.
Unlikely. No, I think it's unlikely, and maybe a bit of a blessing in disguise as well to not have to disrupt the team. I know Bance is a world-class player and he would make any T20 side in the world stronger, but it's going to be a tough decision on somebody to be left out again, back to man management and all that sort of thing, aren't we? So I don't know, but I don't think it will happen. So I think it's a bit of a moot point. Tom Abel, on the other hand, I think we've talked about, and I think if Gregory's fit,
can bowl,
we leave a bowler out for Tom Abel. If Gregory cannot bowl, I think you can't bring a just recently fit Abel in for Gregory. I don't think you can do that. So I think we're as is if Gregory can't bowl.
You could bring him in for Josh Thomas.
Potentially, depending on the surface, I suppose.
And if you had to put Banton in the squad, if you were forced to put him into the team, I suppose you'd look at TKC just because he doesn't look fully fit. His hand's still strapped up. He's sort of hidden a little bit in the field at the moment compared with how he is when he's top of his game. But he's the kind of player that can win a game and take it away from the opposition. So, as you say, it's probably good that we don't have to make that choice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I think long term as well. I think somebody else asked if you would. Yeah, Andy Cleve asked if you keep Thomas Roos and open. I would. Banton's batting 4 for England. I think it makes sense that he would bat 3, 4, or 5 for us.
Yeah.
Which keeps Thomas at the top of the order where he's done so well. Seems to have gelled really well with Will Smead. That looks fantastic. And you got a little bit of healthy competition in that middle order then between Abel, TKC, Banton, Gregory, obviously Goldsworthy, Tom Lammonby as well. Soon after has asked Tom Lammonby. I saw him on Friday night. He said he's had the best week he's had for a long while with his elbow. So fingers be back for the One Day Cup. When's that start? There's not much time between
Tuesday.
Tuesday when we are up at
the John Fretwell Leisure Complex, not somewhere near Mansfield.
Oh right, Sutholm, according to that's probably pronounced somewhere completely. Completely butchered that pronunciation. It's or something like that. But 21st. So not too long to celebrate before everybody goes off to the other competition, and the One Day Cup starts in earnest. I mean, have you had your letter from Jason Kerr yet of inviting you to bring your pads?
Well, you're the one who knows how to keep wicket.
I can read Jack Leach now. So I'm probably just jumping to the top of that queue. Joking aside, though, we are looking incredibly light on the batting, and I know it is fantastic for players who aren't even in the squad, like Zach Vukusic is one who definitely springs to mind as one that they're very keen on to be able to come in. It is nice when you come into an environment where you've got 6 or 7 senior players, 4 junior players ish is a good sort of balance. Thinking back to the Sean Dixon, Ben Green years where we were getting pummeled by the likes of James Bracey and Ali, all racking up double hundreds, and it was just no fun for those kids out there. They weren't, it was damage control. They weren't learning how to win games. They were learning, it was just really sad, and you felt for them. And just when we got a little balance, it seems to have been ripped away from us again. Oh well.
Talking to the guy from Worcester yesterday, they lose 3 people to the 100, but 2 of them are injured. Oh. So they actually, Adam Hose is one of them. So they actually only losing 1 player. So it's again we're kind of up against it.
I mean, we're losing the same, but the players that we've lost from the side. I mean, Josh Davey and Casey Aldridge will be absolutely invaluable. Obviously, Andy Umeed as well. Maybe we could get him back, get Andy Umeed back as a guest player.
Maybe, yeah.
He's not. I think he's running a property empire or something now. Andy Umeed, I don't know, but
I'm planning to go. Andy, I'm planning to go to the Nottinghamshire game on this Tuesday. This is one of the reasons I'm giving Leeds a slip. So let's say we go to Edgbaston on the Saturday.
I think you need to get your priorities right, Mr. President. Possibly a massive game in defending the Vitality Blast versus one-day cup game in the Leisure Centre.
Well, they're all important. I'm delegating Yorkshire to you, and then we'll all be together at finals day, and then I'm going to go to Notts, and then I've got some friends who live in Kibworth, which is where Leicestershire are playing the following day. So I'm going to have a little East Midlands tour, and I'm going to go down and see them again, Leicestershire against Gloucester, and cheer on Ben Green and oh no, well I guess is he in the 100? Josh Davey anyway.
Josh Davey's probably injured. Ben Green might be there.
I'll report back anyway.
I don't know. Well, at least Alfonso Thomas will be there, so you can say hello to the Thomas. True. Yeah. Oh God, it's just this chaotic week, isn't it? Where you're here, there, and everywhere. They're always. You can't miss the last few games of the group stage because there's always something massive on those. Then it's the quarterfinal, which if it's away, it's going to be against a team outside your group, so it's going to be a trek. And then at least the one constant is finals day is always in Birmingham, but digs are hard to come by, so it's going to have to be an up back the same day job. No. We'll leave the last word to Adam Osmond, who asks, who would make your all-time Somerset T 2011? Well, I'm not going to go for the whole 11. Which from this current crop of players? Lewis Gregory is an absolute shoo-in for me. Craig Overton, I think, as well.
Banton?
I think... I don't know. Does Banton open the batting ahead of Chris Gale or Trez?
Yeah, okay.
I think at the end of his career, I think probably Banton and Smead will have a record to look back at which will rival Trez and maybe even Chris Gale. Possibly not in terms of, well, maybe not Gale, maybe not in terms of the worldwide success of the universe boss, but certainly Trez, I would think.
Mention Barbara Azam, and your listener figures will kind of go up.
Yeah, Barbara Azam definitely gets in our all-time T20 11 listeners. So if you're listening from Karachi or Lahore or Islamabad or any of those places, do drop us a follow and a share and a subscribe or whatever it is you do on the internet these days. But it's actually another layer to that question from Adam, is that a lot of the players who have been in the 11 that have won the finals 2023, 2025, you wouldn't necessarily make up your best ever Somerset T2011. I mean, like Sir Josh Butler, Keyswetter's probably easily get into those sides. So it kind of goes
Roloff, you'd have to put in, wouldn't you?
Roloff, yeah, absolutely. Roloff as well. A lot of these players are a gel, and they make a team that is more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah,
and I think that's a massive factor in why they've been so successful over the last couple of years. They've had really good players, maybe not the sort of the all-time superstars. Yeah. I mean, we never had it when we had Chris Gale, best player in the world, playing for us. Couldn't win it then.
No, scored 150. No. What was that game where he scored a huge amount and we lost to Kent, didn't we? Billings scored even more, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was the one where the guy went in the river and got the ball in 2016. No, 15 that was. Yeah, and then Billings just went, yeah. No, we were chasing. We were chasing. We were chasing. I think, but I think they batted for. We finished about 10 short. Gale 150 odd. Yeah, I don't think anyone's hit a ball like that before or since. Well, maybe Viv before, but certainly not since. And yeah, going back to the whole environment thing, leadership group creating that great team.
Yeah. Everyone knows their role.
Yeah, everyone knows their role, and it's not just about having the best players in the world. You've got to have the best team.
Which hopefully we have.
Which hopefully we have indeed. We've just ticked over to an hour. Peter, it's been a pleasure. We'll get Gibbo back next week when we get together on Monday, and we'll either have a great podcast or we'll have a little bit of a review of how my trip to Yorkshire or Leeds, Headingley, ended up with 7 flat tyres, 8 speeding tickets, and me falling asleep at the wheel or something like that. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you next week. If you are going to Headingley, hopefully see you there, and then fingers crossed we all meet again up at Edgbaston on Saturday. Always a pleasure, Peter. I'll see you Saturday.
I'll see you.
Fingers crossed. Cheers, everyone.